Welcome to this podcast from the BBC World Service. Please let us know what you think and tell other people about us on social media. Podcasts from the BBC World Service are supported by advertising.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Terry, can you keep still? I'm trying to draw you. We'd all like some quick and simple ways to improve our health, but we're bombarded with often conflicting advice. So, if you were going to do just one thing to improve your mental and physical well-being, what should it be? Maybe a few squats to enhance your brain, or more bacteria to improve your mood, or even a cold shower to boost your immune system. I'm Dr. Michael Mosley, and this is Just One Thing, where each episode we'll explore one thing you can start doing tomorrow to improve your health or life in ways you might not expect. That's it. Now, yes, still. Last year, during the first lockdown, many of us decided to pick up new hobbies, like drawing, knitting, or making sourdough bread. If you did, then you will be delighted to know that there are benefits to learning something new that go beyond simply staving off boredom. There is evidence that learning new skills will give your brain a really good workout in ways that are measurable, which is why I'm trying to draw our dog right now, but she is a bit fidgety. Yes, Terry, I'm talking about you. Not all new hobbies are equally beneficial. If you really want to keep your brain in good shape, you need to do something that's a bit more demanding than baking biscuits. That's why we've asked our guinea pig, Fiona, to try to learn a new language.
I'm Fiona. I'm from Belfast. I work in the health service as an administrator. I have agreed to learn a new language. I think it's important just to choose a language that would be brand new. So there are a number of different writing systems in Japanese, and there are some very unusual characters that I'm going to have to learn for vowels and for sounds. The sounds would be ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. Okay, so they're all listed there. It's quite straightforward. Great. Looks like great fun.
We're asking Fiona to try learning a new language using an app for 20 to 30 minutes every day. Taking up a new hobby or learning a new skill can be hugely beneficial, both for the way you feel and the way you think. When you're stressed, taking on something new may be the last thing you want to do, but studies have shown that learning something new can actually reduce your stress levels. In fact, in one study where participants were asked to learn something new or do something relaxing, it turned out it was the group who were asked to learn something new who saw the biggest reductions in levels of stress. Doing something that absorbs you and gets you concentrating in the present moment can have similar benefits to practicing mindfulness. Our nervous system is only capable of processing a limited amount of information at a time. So when you're fully absorbed in something, it effectively kind of pauses the outside world. This is called flow, and the effects of flow are similar to those of meditation, calming the fight or flight response that keeps our bodies in a constant state of stress. And if that wasn't enough, when you're doing a hobby you enjoy, your brain releases a chemical called dopamine, our natural antidepressant. And it's not just your mental health. Learning something new can change the way you think as well as how you feel. Learning a new skill is an excellent workout for your brain. It forges new brain pathways which help grow new brain connections, literally boosting your brain power. Learning any new skill can do this, whether it is drawing or knitting. But one of the best things you can do for your brain is learn a new language. Language learning engages an extensive brain network, and juggling between different sounds, words, concepts, and grammatical and social rules enhances blood flow and connections across the entire brain. Studies have shown it literally changes your brain, boosting both the number of nerve cells and the connections between them. It can even improve your intelligence but only, unfortunately, if you practice your new language for at least 5 hours a week. So let's check back in with Fiona and see how she's getting on with learning Japanese.
E, ni, chi. Great job, it says.
Ichi.
Ichi. Yes, got it right. That was really good, although it's difficult. But that was actually quite satisfying. I know how to say 1 and 2 in Japanese. Ichi, ni.
Having once tried to learn Japanese, I am very impressed with her persistence. So Fiona is putting valuable time into learning Japanese, even though she may not be able to use her new skill anytime soon. But could it pay off in other ways? Alan Gow is a professor of psychology at Heriot-Watt University. He is studying the impact that learning new skills can have on our brains. Now, I'm really interested in your research. What have you been doing about examining the impact of learning a new skill on the brain?
So what we've been doing over the last few years is asking people to take up a new activity for us. So they may be learning a language, they may be taking part in computer skills training, they may be doing something more creative or artistic. They do that after having done a whole series of psychological and cognitive tests. And the new activities are things that they've not done before. And what we do is ask them to do that new activity for about 3 months in our study before they return for the repeat testing of their various thinking skills.
Things like, say, learning to dance. Did you find any differences between how beneficial the different activities were?
So the idea of how physical, mental, social engagement might be important and important in different combinations is exactly what we're keen to explore here. So not just focusing on physical or mental or social, but actually trying to get an understanding of how different levels or combinations of those things might be particularly beneficial for people's thinking skills.
Well, now I'm currently 64, and I think of my brain as the house I'm living in at the moment. It's a little bit outdated, the wiring is a bit knackered, and I guess the question is, if I acquire these new skills, if I do new things, can I actually improve the wiring? Will my brain really regenerate new brain cells? Or basically, is it a bit futile from that point of view?
I think it's a really interesting question, and it's something that I certainly get asked. Is there any point? I'm X years old, should I bother? And I think the answer is absolutely, never too late. And that extends to all aspects, I think, of trying new things, whether they be more physical exercise, changing diet, becoming more active in a new mentally challenging task. Never too late. And the longer you do it, likely the longer that benefit will accumulate over time.
Right, so you really can generate new brain cells. You can generate new connections within the brain even later in life, like now.
The evidence is certainly suggesting it's possible in a way that, as I say, we might not have considered, going back a few decades. And the opportunity for change, I think, is one that we would certainly want to highlight.
Yes. I found it very encouraging, especially in someone like me, who's in their 60s. Now, in your study, you're looking at a range of different activities, and as you said, you've measured their cognitive skills before and then after. I know you haven't published it yet, but broadly, what sort of changes are you looking for? What sort of things would you hope to detect?
We might expect the kinds of thinking skills that what we might consider to be more affected by age to be the ones that benefit. So what do I mean by that? Our speed of thinking, our processing speed, is one of the thinking skills that does seem to experience decline earlier in the lifespan. And studies have suggested that may also be the kind of thinking skill that is most likely to see benefits from intervention, and that the benefits to that type of thinking skill then might, over the longer term, help other thinking skills.
Great. So we're all aware of that feeling that our brains are slowing down as we get older. And that's one area that might improve. Memory, possibly as well?
Yeah, so with memory, there are lots of different aspects of memory, of course. And what we know as we get older is that we may find it a bit more difficult to lay down new memories. So our short-term memory, and also then the transfer from short-term into longer-term memory, may be one of those things that's affected. For most people, as we get older, it's the thinking skills that we're more likely to see declines in that I imagine would be keenest to see benefiting. So I think that certainly directs our attention towards things like thinking speed and memory particularly. But of course, there are other aspects as well, and that's why we're considering such a broad suite of thinking skills.
What do you think about these brain training things that are sold to us as a great way to keep your brain in good shape?
It's a really interesting area of research, but the broad evidence so far seems to not be particularly encouraging in terms of improving thinking skills that then translate into other things. So if people enjoy doing games and puzzles, then of course the advice would be to do them. But at the moment, the evidence and also the advice from many, many leading ageing charities would be that doing those things specifically to maintain your thinking skills probably isn't supported at the current point.
And presumably the message is that you can teach an old dog new tricks and that the old dog might well benefit from it.
As I say, one of the things I think we're seeing, and I think this is particularly due to, people are living longer, and as a result, we have this, fantastic opportunity to have a period post-retirement, which we want to be filled with positive, engaging, challenging, exciting opportunities. And so I think you're absolutely right. There's an opportunity to learn things we had never done before, both for the simple joy of doing that, but also for the possibility that then will benefit the extra years that we have. We know in general that people who maintain their thinking skills longer generally live longer, healthier lives. So if we can use improvements in thinking skills as one aspect among many in how we can promote healthier lives, I think that's something that we would all be keen to do more of.
Thanks very much, Alan.
Thank you very much, Michael.
So now we know a bit more about how our brains are wired and why trying to learn new things is likely to keep our brains healthy. Let's see how Fiona has got on with her Japanese lessons.
Konnichiwa. So I've been practicing Japanese for the last 5 days, spending around 15-20 minutes a day listening and speaking the language. It is difficult, but I think when you learn a language, it's just about repeating the sound of a word in the beginning. I find it more reassuring to keep going back over what I'd learned. I'm planning to continue with this learning. This has been really interesting and good fun and a break from the norm, really.
The thing about learning a new skill is you don't have to master it. What I'm doing at the moment is looking at the colours and the shape of the object in front of me, our dog, Terry, and then trying to use my slightly dodgy motor skills to make my fingers move the charcoal so I translate what I planned in my head onto the paper. All of which is a massive workout for my aging brain. Terry, keep still. Fortunately, this is radio, so you can't see just how bad this drawing really is. So that's it. It's just one thing you can incorporate into your daily routine, which really could benefit your body and life. If you want to hear more of the series, then why not subscribe on BBC Sounds? In the next episode of Just One Thing, I'll be learning why the squat, done properly, can be one of the best exercises for improving your brain function.
Hello, I'm Matthew Syed, and just before you go, I wanted to tell you about my new podcast. It's called Sideways. Each week, I'll be telling you stories that I hope will make you see the world differently. We've got a story about a rebellious pilot who changed the way we fight wars. We'll hear how a misunderstanding about probability led to a group of mothers being wrongfully convicted of killing their children. We'll meet a tribe described as the most selfish people on the planet. I'll be revealing the true story of Stockholm Syndrome. And we'll also hear how a change in our sexual behaviour 2,000 years ago revolutionised the way we innovate. So if you want to hear about the big ideas that are shaping our lives, please come and join me by listening to Sideways on BBC Sounds.